Welcome, seekers of hidden truths and forgotten lore. Today, we venture into the shadows of Middle-earth, peeling back the veil that conceals one of the darkest enigmas in Tolkien's legendarium, the mystery of the Black Númenórean Sorceries, forbidden magic of the West. These ancient sorcerers, shrouded in mystery and dread, are seldom spoken of, yet their influence lingers like a shadow upon the lands of men and elves alike. Our tale begins in the Second Age, in the year 32 of that age, with the founding of Númenor, Andor, the land of gifts, bestowed upon the Edain by the Valar as a reward for their valor in the defeat of Morgoth. The Númenóreans were gifted with long life, wisdom, and unparalleled knowledge of craftsmanship and lore. Yet, as often happens in the tales of men, greatness can sow the seeds of downfall. Over the centuries, pride festered in their hearts, and a yearning for immortality grew. It was this hunger that led to their eventual doom. The Black Númenóreans emerged from this fall from grace after the Akallabeth, the downfall of Númenor in 3319 of the Second Age. Those who had aligned with Sauron survived the ruin by fleeing to Middle-earth's southern reaches. These exiles settled in places like Umbar, and their hearts remained poisoned by resentment and an insatiable lust for power. They clung to the shadow of Sauron, and through his dark tutelage, they delved into sorceries forbidden by the Valar, embracing the very evil that had led their ancestors to ruin. But what were these sorceries? What dark arts did the Black Númenóreans wield that made them feared even by the most valiant of men and elves? Tolkien never fully unveiled the depths of their dark magic, yet fragments of their terrifying influence linger in scattered texts. They were skilled in enchantments that could corrupt the hearts of men, spells of domination and dread, perhaps akin to the dark influence of the One Ring itself. One might imagine they inherited knowledge of ancient rituals from Sauron, a Maya of Auli turned lieutenant of Morgoth, who was himself a master of domination and illusion. In Umbar, they became cruel tyrants, ruling over coastal lands with iron and shadow, raising black banners marked with symbols of their allegiance to Sauron. These sorcerers were no mere warriors. They were priests of darkness, weaving curses and despair into the very air around them. Their influence could bend the wills of the weak and sow discord among their enemies. And yet their true terror may have lain not in brute power, but in their manipulation of fear and despair. As noted in the Silmarillion, despair was one of Morgoth's greatest weapons, the shadow that bred in the hearts of men. It is plausible that the Black Númenóreans inherited this legacy, becoming vessels of that ancient malice. They wielded their arts not just to destroy, but to corrupt, bringing ruin from within. Their dark legacy reached its height during the Third Age, as they served Sauron faithfully from their stronghold in Umbar. By TA 933, Gondor captured Umbar, yet remnants of the Black Númenórean bloodline lingered in the shadows, influencing events from behind the scenes. Could it be that their dark knowledge was passed down through secretive cults, whispering corruption into the hearts of men long after their dominion had ended? But what of the implications of their sorceries? Did their arts extend beyond mere subjugation? Could they have explored necromantic rituals, akin to Sauron's ability to raise the dead Marsh's spirits? Did they craft talismans of dread or unholy relics infused with Morgoth's lingering malice? The silence surrounding their exact practices leaves room for dreadful speculation. One must wonder, if such dark knowledge survived the ruin of Númenor, could traces of it still haunt the lands of Middle-earth? And so we delve deeper into the abyss of forgotten histories, where the whispers of the Black Númenóreans linger like shadows upon the wind. The question that looms heavy is this: what was the true depth of their sorcerous knowledge? Were they merely Sauron's vassals, or did they uncover dreadful powers that even the Dark Lord himself feared? To understand this, we must look back to the roots of Númenor's fall and the corruption that seeped into the hearts of its mightiest lords. Before the downfall, Sauron, taken as a prisoner by the Númenóreans, manipulated King Ar-Pharazôn with subtle words and dark counsel. By the 3260th year of the Second Age, Sauron's influence had wrapped around Numenor's court like a serpent. He became High Priest of Melkor, whom the Númenóreans in their pride began to worship in defiance of the Valar. The darkest of Numenor's elite gathered around Sauron, forming a secretive inner circle of sorcerers and high priests dedicated to Melkor's worship. It was within this hidden cult that the first seeds of the Black Númenórean Sorceries were sown. Their rites were steeped in dread, sacrifices made in the name of Morgoth, whose influence still lingered from the void. These practices were not mere superstition, but dark rituals that bent the fabric of the world's natural order. When Númenor fell, swallowed by the sea as punishment for its arrogance in 3319 of the Second Age, these worshippers did not perish with their homeland. Instead, they fled the Cataclysm's fury, bringing their dark secrets with them across the waves to Middle-earth's southern lands. There, in the coastal fortress of Umbar, they carved a domain of cruelty and terror, raising black altars to Morgoth in hidden sanctuaries. But what of their forbidden arts? Could these sorcerers have retained knowledge that rivaled the abilities of the elves, or even challenged the Valar's decrees? While Tolkien's texts never fully reveal the exact nature of their magic, echoes of their power surface in unsettling ways. Consider their ties to Sauron himself, as Maiar of Aule, an immortal spirit. Sauron had deep knowledge of the world's inner workings, including the manipulation of matter and the bending of wills. It is conceivable that Sauron, in his malice, gifted fragments of this knowledge to his mortal followers. This could explain how the Black Númenóreans mastered sorceries designed not only to dominate, but to unravel the very essence of their enemies. One could imagine them using dark enchantments to bind spirits, perhaps weaving spells, akin to the terrifying necromancer of Dol Guldur. Their power may have been lesser than Sauron's, yet potent enough to curse lands, twist the hearts of men, and bind their wills in eternal servitude. Their mastery over fear itself could have been their greatest weapon. As Tolkien noted in the Silmarillion, fear was Morgoth's most insidious tool, a shadow that could paralyze the heart and erode the soul. The Black Númenóreans might have refined this art into a deadly craft, casting dread upon entire armies without ever raising a blade. And yet, as mighty as their sorcerers were, they were not invincible. By the Third Age, Gondor emerged as a force of resistance, determined to extinguish the dark influence of the Black Númenóreans. In TA 933, King Ernil I captured Umbar, though remnants of the Shadow remained entrenched within its walls. The Dark Lords of Umbar retreated into secrecy, continuing their rituals in hidden chambers, their hatred for Gondor undiminished. But the true horror lies not in their conquest or dominion. It is in the idea that their dark knowledge was never truly extinguished. Could their arts have survived beyond the fall of Umbar? Were there secret cults, perhaps hidden in the darker corners of Harad or Khand, still practicing forbidden rites in the shadow of Sauron's legacy? The shadow of the Black Númenóreans did not fade with the fall of their stronghold in Umbar. Rather, it sank deeper into the forgotten corners of Middle-earth, like an ember buried beneath ash, waiting for the right moment to stir once more. Though Gondor's armies scattered their forces and claimed the citadel, the dark knowledge of these sorcerers was not so easily extinguished. There are hints, whispers in the wind, that their most forbidden arts survived, passed down in secret through generations of those still loyal to the memory of Sauron and Morgoth. The very nature of their dark sorcery suggests something far more insidious than mere spells of fire or destruction. Their power seemed to lie in corruption, an ability to taint what was pure and sow discord among even the most steadfast of hearts. Could it be that their magic was not entirely of their own making, but rather inherited from the deeper malice of Melkor himself? After all, Morgoth's influence seeped into the very fabric of Arda, a stain upon the world that could never fully be cleansed. If the Black Númenóreans drew upon this lingering shadow, their sorceries would not merely be tools of war, but instruments of spiritual decay. Consider the dark works of Sauron, their master. In The Lord of the Rings, we see how the Nazgûl, the Ringwraiths, were bound to him through the power of the Rings of Power. These 9 were enslaved by their own greed and ambition, their souls consumed until nothing remained but shadows. Could it be that the Black Númenóreans, in their own dark experiments, sought to mimic this terrible domination? Perhaps they crafted lesser artifacts imbued with curses, designed to ensnare the hearts of men and sow fear among their foes. Such relics may have been lost to history, buried beneath the sands of Harad, or hidden in forgotten tombs, still pulsing with dark intent. Moreover, there is reason to believe that their sorceries extended beyond mere mortal dominion. The fearsome reputation of these dark sorcerers suggests they might have tampered with necromantic arts, an echo of Sauron's own ability to raise spirits and command the dead, as seen in the Dead Marshes and the Barrow Downs. The Black Númenóreans, steeped in Melkor's worship, could have pursued forbidden rites that defiled the natural order, trapping spirits or harnessing the anguish of the slain to fuel their power. The influence of these sorcerers likely extended far beyond Umbar. Rumors in the southern lands speak of hidden cults that persisted long after the fall of Sauron in Dard 319.ea. These remnants of the Black Númenórean bloodline may have carried on their grim legacy in secret, venerating the Dark Lords of old and preserving the dread knowledge passed down from their ancestors. Their rituals, darkened by centuries of isolation and bitterness, could have evolved into something even more twisted, a perverse reflection of the ancient practices once taught by Sauron himself. And what of their impact on the broader history of Middle-earth? Could the Black Númenóreans have played a role in events beyond what is recorded in the annals of Gondor? Some speculate that their influence reached as far as Harad Kand and even the shadowed lands of Rhûn, shaping the hearts of dark chieftains and seeding rebellion against the free peoples of Middle-earth. Perhaps the wars fought by Gondor in the south were not mere territorial skirmishes, but battles against an enduring shadow, the last embers of Númenor's darkest legacy burning fiercely in defiance of the West. The most chilling question remains: did their sorceries die with them? Or could their forbidden knowledge still echo through the ages, hidden in ancient texts, darkened tombs, or whispered by those who dare to seek the forgotten arts? The idea that remnants of their power might still linger, waiting to corrupt, to rise again, casts a long and unsettling shadow across the history of Middle-earth. The legacy of the Black Númenóreans is not merely a tale of ancient ruin, but a lingering curse upon the very fabric of Middle-earth. Though their power waned with the passing of the ages and the fall of Sauron, the darkness they unleashed was never fully banished. Their sorceries were born of the deepest malice, woven from pride, despair, and the relentless hunger for dominion. And such forces do not fade quietly into the annals of history. Instead, they leave echoes, whispers of corruption that might yet stir in the hearts of those susceptible to power's seductive call. One need only look at the enduring fear surrounding places like Umbar and Harad to feel the shadow of their influence. Though Gondor wrested control of Umbar in TA 1050, the memory of the Black Númenóreans' cruelty remained etched into the stones of their once great citadel. Even as Gondor's banner flew above its towers, rumors persisted of hidden cults practicing forbidden rites beneath the cover of darkness, rituals honoring not only Sauron but Morgoth himself, the Dark Valar, whose hatred for creation knew no bounds. And what of the Southrons and Easterlings who later allied with Sauron during the War of the Ring? Could their enmity toward Gondor and the West have been stoked by those who carried remnants of Black Númenórean influence? It is conceivable that whispers of the old sorcerers' teachings endured among these distant peoples, fanning ancient grudges into the flames of war. The allure of dark power is timeless, and in Middle-earth's most forgotten corners, ambition and bitterness could yet awaken the embers of old shadows. But perhaps the most unsettling possibility lies not in ancient strongholds or foreign lands, but in the very nature of evil itself. For as Tolkien wrote in the Silmarillion, Morgoth's corruption seeped into the very foundations of the world, the marring of Aradar. If the Black Númenóreans had indeed learned how to draw upon this latent darkness, their sorceries could have left stains upon the land itself. Cursed places where shadows linger unnaturally, and the air carries the weight of ancient dread. Imagine, then, some hidden vault beneath the sands of Umbar, sealed for centuries, containing relics imbued with their sorcerous malice. What horrors might such artifacts unleash if discovered by those who seek power without understanding the price? Could there yet be dark-hearted men, or worse, who strive to unearth this forbidden legacy, seeking to reclaim the shadowed might of the Black Númenórean sorcerers? And what of the spiritual consequences of their arts? If their sorceries extended into the realm of spirits, could it be that echoes of these dark lords remain, haunting the forgotten places of Middle-earth? In the deep deserts of Harad or the desolate ruins of Umbar, perhaps restless shades still linger, bound by ancient oaths and dark enchantments, forever cursed to wander until the end of days. It is a chilling thought that, even after the fall of Sauron and the destruction of the One Ring in 3019 of the Third Age, the shadow of Númenor's darkest sons might endure. For evil in Tolkien's legendarium is not so easily vanquished. It is a corrupting force that reshapes itself, returning in new forms when vigilance falters. The legacy of the Black Númenóreans, with all its dread and malice, serves as a grim reminder that darkness, once awakened, is never truly gone. It only sleeps. In the end, their sorceries remain a mystery, an ominous void in the vast tapestry of Middle-earth's history. But perhaps this is fitting, for some knowledge is best left hidden, and some shadows are better left undisturbed. Yet for those who listen carefully, the winds that sweep across the coasts of Umbar still carry faint whispers of that ancient darkness, of pride turned to ruin, and of sorceries so vile that even the Valar dared not speak of them again. So, should you ever wander the forgotten paths of Middle-earth and feel the weight of unseen eyes upon you, remember this. The Black Númenóreans may have fallen into legend, but their shadows might yet stir, waiting, as all dark things do, for the moment when vigilance wanes and the world forgets. Even as the shadows of the Black Númenóreans fade into legend, their legacy serves as a stark reminder that in Middle-earth, the echoes of ancient evils are never truly silenced. The downfall of Númenor was not merely the ruin of a proud civilization, it was a fracture in the very spirit of men. A reminder of the peril that comes with unchecked ambition and the insatiable thirst for power. The Black Númenóreans were the embodiment of this downfall, carrying the bitterness of their ancestors into exile, shaping it into a weapon of malice that would haunt the lands of Middle-earth for ages to come. Their dark influence was not confined to the visible world alone. The true terror of their sorceries may lie in the scars they left on the hearts and souls of those they touched. Imagine the despair of those who fell under their influence. Leaders of men turned to cruelty, alliances poisoned by fear, and lands left cursed and barren, unable to heal from the corruption that once took root. These were not wounds of flesh, but of spirit, lingering long after the Black Númenóreans themselves had faded from history's gaze. Their enduring shadow is a testament to Tolkien's understanding of evil, not as something loud and overt, but as a creeping corruption that thrives in silence and secrecy. Much like the One Ring itself, their legacy endures because it speaks to the weaknesses within the hearts of men: pride, envy, and the desire for dominion. It is in these moments of weakness that the old shadows might find fertile ground once more, rising from forgotten tombs or hidden relics left behind in ancient vaults. Even the free peoples of Middle-earth, elves, dwarves, and men, could not fully comprehend the depths of the sorceries wielded by these exiles of Númenor. The elves, though wise beyond mortal reckoning, had little power over the hearts of men, and the dwarfs, steadfast though they were, had little concern for the affairs of men beyond their stone halls. Thus, the true danger of the Black Númenóreans remained unchecked for centuries, lurking in the shadows of Gondor's southern borders and festering in the dark lands of Harad. The question remains, could such darkness ever rise again? While the destruction of the One Ring brought about the fall of Sauron and the shattering of his dominion, it did not erase the knowledge his servants once possessed. Ancient tomes, inscribed in forgotten tongues, could still lie hidden in the ruins of Umbar or buried beneath the sands of distant lands. Those with the ambition to seek out these forbidden texts could, knowingly or not, awaken a shadow long thought buried. In the age following the War of the Ring, with Sauron defeated and peace seemingly restored, the vigilance of the free peoples may have begun to wane. It is often in times of peace that old evils find their chance to stir. A forgotten relic unearthed, a cryptic inscription deciphered. These could be the sparks that ignite a resurgence of ancient sorcery, rekindling the dark ambitions of those who would seek power beyond their rightful grasp. The most unsettling thought is that the Black Númenórean legacy might not be bound solely to the realm of the past. Could their influence still linger in hidden bloodlines? Perhaps in some dark corner of Middle-earth there remains a descendant of those ancient lords, unknowingly carrying within them the potential for darkness, a living vessel of the old sorceries waiting for the right moment to awaken. As with all great evils in Tolkien's world, the story of the Black Númenóreans is not merely a warning about power, it is a reminder of the choices that define the fate of all beings. Pride, fear, and the hunger for immortality led Númenor to its ruin, and it was those same forces that birthed the Black Númenórean Sorcerers. In their fall, we see the reflection of all who dare to reach beyond their rightful place in the world. Their story ends not with a great battle or a fiery climax, but with silence. The silence of forgotten tombs, of ancient spells left unspoken, and of shadows that stretch far beyond the graves of their masters. And yet silence does not mean peace. In Middle-earth, where the echoes of Morgoth's malice still linger in the bones of the world, it is only a matter of time before someone dares to listen once more. In the end, perhaps this is the greatest lesson of the Black Númenórean Sorceries, that true darkness never truly dies. It waits. And as long as there are those who seek power without wisdom and dominion without mercy, the shadow of Númenor's darkest sons will never truly be forgotten.